This is the Hope Not Note podcast,
where we answer your questions and share inspirational stories to fill your soul with hope.
Our mission is to empower hope to those who have been plagued by note.
I'm Dr. Dylan Caswell.
And I'm Brandy.
And we're here to bring you out of the note and into hope.
Welcome to the Hope Not Note podcast. We are pumped to be with you today. And before we jump into the question, I would love for you, wherever you're listening on, whether it be Apple, Spotify, or YouTube, make sure you're following us or subscribe to us. And please rate us. Give us a star. Leave us a review.
Preferably 5 stars.
Preferably 5 stars. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Leave a review. Give us a like on the video. Set your reminders so that you know that every single week that we're releasing these episodes, because it just helps get the information out there more and helps with the algorithm and really just helps us and supports us so much and gives us a little butterfly happiness in the belly. So please do that. And let's dive into our question.
I understand 4 stars. There's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
But the 5 stars really helps.
Yes. Fair enough. So our question is from a listener named Beth, and she asks, what do you find to be most frustrating thing about modern day movement?
Beth, thank you for that question. I think there can be a lot of frustrations, but I would say one of my biggest frustrations is the perception that the reason that people are not moving is because they're lazy. I think that frustrates me the most about modern day movement, is that it's not being done. But the reason it's not being done is the perception because people are lazy. I don't think people are lazy. Mm-hmm. I don't. I think people are very well educated that movement is medicine. I mean, how many research articles has been done? How many times has it been preached of how important movement is? And it's still not being done. And a lot of people will say, well, it's not being done because people are just looking for a miracle fix. And I think that's true. But when we dive deeper and ask, well, why are they looking for a miracle fix? Why are they not doing the thing that has been shown to be a quote unquote miracle? And the reason being is because they have doubts. Not doubts on how beneficial it is, but doubts that they're going to be able to do it correctly. Doubts that they're going to be able to do it and not have an injury. Doubts that they're going to be able to do it and not crash out in the middle of their day or at the end of night. So my frustration is that people aren't moving, not because they're lazy, but because they have doubts. And then my frustration becomes, well, why do they have doubts? And it's because modern day movement has become so structured and packaged. Some of the best movers in the world we'll never be able to see. And the reason is because they're not using a gym. They're not on a competition platform. They're moving because their environment requires them to move. And when we look at movement, from the very first time that we move, why do we move? Not to be very specific about an exercise program. Like, I don't know a toddler that says, I'm going to crawl, and I'm going to crawl for 1 minute and 30 seconds to get a new PR and see what my heart rate is.
Yeah.
They crawl because they're curious. They're curious about something in their environment. They're curious about exploring what their movement system can do. Somewhere along the lines, we lose that. And I don't know if it's because we're all going to experience an injury at some point or another. And there's a lot of philosophical reasons of why that may be. I think it's so that we do learn that we do have limits, that we are in fact not gods, and that we do have limits. But I do think that our limits are not what we think they are. I think we look at the superhumans in the world, and we all have that potential if we're willing to break down the barriers. But so what's most frustrating to me is that people doubt their capability or ability to move because they're so afraid of moving because of the repercussions or the side effects that could happen from it. Because how many posts do we see now with the red X? Don't move this way with a green check mark. Don't run this way. Don't you even think about wearing that shoe. You need to wear this shoe. Look how my foot looks in it when I cut off the toe box. You need this specific shoe to move. Well, some of the best movers in the world don't even have shoes.
Right.
And when they have shoes, it improves their performance. So yeah, we can start having that type of debate when we're talking about efficiency and what the goal is. But modern day movement has become so packaged and so structured, and we've been taught to believe that you have to move in this very specific way. And that's really not the case if the goal is general movement health. If your goal is general movement health, variability, curiosity, exploring what the body's capable of doing, right? So when we look at the movement sequence of development, kids are running, they're climbing on stuff, they're jumping off of stuff, they're going on trees, they're rolling down hills. They're not doing it for an imam. They're not doing it for an AMRAP. They're not doing it to see, again, like, how far can I jump out this time with a measuring tape and beat my previous record of when I was 3 years old. They're doing it because it's fun. And movement is supposed to be fun. So I think if I could change one thing about modern day movement, it would be, yes, if you have a specific performance goal, we need structured programming, and we need to move in an efficient way to reach that specific performance goal. But if your goal is general movement health or health in general, then let's do movements that are fun. Let's not worry about rep schemes. Let's not worry about how many days per week or the best protocol to use for it. Let's go and do it and have fun. And when your body will tell you that when it's time to take a break. You know, in the previous episode or a couple episodes ago, we were talking about a water balloon fight. Well, okay, how many throws should I do in this water balloon fight? Okay, well, the pitch count
Let me
says,
go warm up my shoulder.
yeah, let me get my bands out and get my shoulder warmed up before I go throw this water balloon 5 feet. And I'm going to be running, so let me do some hip mobility and get my hamstrings prepped and ready to go for a water balloon fight. And set the timer. Let me know how long I'm running for in this, and let me know when I need to pause because my heart rate gets to 80% of my max heart rate. Go throw the water balloon. Go run. Your body will tell you when it's time to take a break. And that's why we love watching kiddos play, because they just keep going, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, I'm done with that. Like, oh, they're bored? No, they want to rest from it. They're not going to say that they're bored because then they're fearful that you won't play with them again. They're saying, oh, no, I need a little bit of a rest break. Let me go get a rest break, have some water, and do that. But again, if you have a specific performance goal, if you're in a rehabilitation program, then there's a time and a place for very structured movement, parameters, graded exposure. If you are otherwise healthy, meaning you're not in a rehabilitation program, and you don't have a very specific performance goal, movement's fun. Find opportunities to have movement.
Well, I want to celebrate the people that move every day that probably aren't working out, right? Like, I have so much respect for them. Just in the past few months of us moving, like, there were days where we didn't get our typical CrossFit workout in, and it was because we were moving boxes from one house to another, and then we were putting stuff away, and like, that was a lot. And we're not a moving company by any means, but like, it was hard, like odd object carrying, walking up, and like, we were doing multiple flights of stairs a day and all of that. And we just did that for a couple days in the midst of our moving in the past few months. But I think of my brother-in-law. If you asked me to walk across like the wood of, I don't know how to explain it, but like the wood of a ceiling while building a house, and there's like, clearly you could fall through the cracks, I would be so cautious. I'd want to be hanging on to something. We're helping my brother-in-law and sister build their house, and he's literally just boop, 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 boop. That is fascinating. It's fun, but he does contracting, like he does carpentry, like that's just what they do. I think of your friend who he's like on stilts and stuff like that. You couldn't catch me on a still. I would be nervous about falling and all that stuff. And he's just on stilts, putting up drywall and all that stuff. We had a neighbor get a roof done recently, and there was like 8 different guys on the roof at once doing this roof. And I'm like, you couldn't catch me on a roof without being afraid. And I just think of all those people who, you know, especially those certain jobs, like they're up so early, putting in so many hours, but they're moving that entire time. They're not sitting at a desk. They're not sitting on their couch. They're moving. And sure, like, maybe hopefully it's fun for them. I think a lot of those guys get into that work because it is fun for them. But I hope that they don't like over stress about having to do all this other stuff as well, because if that, like, we want them to have fun, but if that's all they're doing, like, that matters and that is enough,
Right.
right?
Right. Yeah. Two points from that is one, we look at workplace ergonomics and the right way to lift and the right way to sit at a desk with the right setup and all that. And we got to look and just ask the question, where does this stuff originate? Where does it come from? And the whole lifting mechanics field came from outdated research on the spine.
Mm.
When they used a cadaver spine and brought it through a bunch of different flexions and come to find out, yeah, the tissue didn't adapt because it wasn't living. Hey, take two rocks and bang them together for long enough, guess what's going to happen?
Mhm.
They're going to degenerate. They're going to turn back to dust. So that research is now outdated. But that started the whole recommendations of how we should be lifting in the back position and things like that. And then the modern research shows, no, your body adapts to the stressors placed on it. The spinal disc and flexion actually get stronger than become weaker. And so that this whole field, what it's starting to turn to, or what it should start turning to, is what matters is movement variability. If you're on a roof all day, your calves are going to get sore from leaning forward and nailing the stuff down. So you want to be able to have variability in the week that, yeah, maybe Monday you're able to kind of hinge down and load your calves on a slanted roof. But the next time, maybe you're kneeling because now your knees are taking the force and your Achilles and your calf isn't taking that force. Movement variability is absolutely key. Some days your back is going to just be talking to you. It's just going to be sore for whatever reason. Having the ability to do a lunge and lift, having the ability to do a single leg deadlift, but it's all about movement variability. And the way that you get movement variability is by getting rid of doubt. And the way that you get rid of doubt is by having graded exposure and moving in ways that challenge you, but that are fun. And to the second point of just playing and looking for these opportunities, so many people we work with, they have kids. They're also working full-time jobs. They got a lot going on. And they beat themselves up if they miss a structured workout. And we pause and we're like, wait a minute. What were your kids playing in the driveway? Oh, they're playing knockout. Did you go join them? No. Well, why not? There's your exercise program. You're going to get so much. You don't think you're going to get a good workout from a game of knockout?
Yeah.
Go do that. Or playing tag in the yard, playing freeze tag. When we were visiting Brandy's side of the family down in Pennsylvania, we're playing games out in the yard from, I don't know what time in the afternoon till whatever time in the evening. Did we get a specific workout in with barbells and dumbbells and things like that? No, but we worked our bodies in a way that we typically don't. And guess what? It was a phenomenal workout.
I was sore the next day.
And it wasn't structured. We weren't, okay, let's run for an hour and then take a break, run for an hour, take a break. We're like, let's just play. Let's just move in ways that we don't typically move and have fun with it. So yes, there is a time that movement needs to be structured and disciplined and very, very much by a protocol to reach a specific performance goal. But let's not forget that the original intention of movement was for it to be a behavior that helps to drive our curiosity, exploration, and just enjoyment. So have fun.
Yeah.
Have fun. Join in some of those yard games.
Do you have a hope story you want to dive into?
Oh, why don't you go first?
First?
Yeah.
Well, I think my hope story is just the gift of having generational friendships. We had dinner with our friends recently who are in their 60s, and it's just so life-giving. It's kind of funny. We joke about how we hang out more with people like over the age of 55 than we do under the age of 55. But in all honesty, like, I was really impressed at the end of dinner. Our friend thanked us for spending time with her and her husband because it gives them life. The way that they grow is by having interactions with people that are not in their same circle of their same age. And I was like, I mean, same. Like, for us, it's so helpful to have people older than us that can inspire us, but then also younger than us. Like I have quite a few friends who are, you know, 8 years younger than me who are just starting their young adult life, and being able to almost like guide them, mentor them, and have friendship with them. Like they're in a complete different season than we are. But I do think it's important to have people younger than you, people older than you that you're able to spend time with. And I even think of, I have this one friend who's a nun, and I think she's turning 100
Wow.
this summer. And if not, she's turning 99, but I actually think she's turning 100. And I met her probably 10 years ago. I actually lived near her, basically on the same property for a summer before moving up to Syracuse. That was like 8 or 9 years ago. So I would have lunch with her, dinner with her almost every night when I lived there for the summer. And since then, we've written letters back and forth. I've only seen her once in the past 8 years, but she is awesome. And I have learned so much from her, and she's nearly 100 years old. And so I think like just simply my hope story is just the gift of having generational friendships, and really prioritizing that in our life. And I'm thankful that that's one of our big values.
Yeah. My hope story is a little bit in line with that.
Okay.
So on my side of the family, my niece, for her birthday, we do this thing where we give her a budget and we go to the mall, and she just gets to do a shopping spree.
Mhm.
In the shopping spree, Brady and I get to veto things that she wants to buy because she's younger and sometimes doesn't make the best decisions with the money. But this past year, a couple weeks ago, we did the birthday celebration. We went to the mall, gave her budget, and we were so impressed
Mhm.
with her spending decisions. Like incredible growth. But we got to the way that we do it is that we now give her the cash. So
Mhm.
she has the cash in hand, and then she has to do the math. And by doing the math, then she gets to experience, do I have enough money in my pocket to buy this thing that's in my hand, instead of just using a card to swipe it, right?
Mhm.
So it teaches the value of money. And I think everyone should have that experience of, do I have enough money in my pocket to get this thing, or do I need to take it back
Mhm.
and make that decision, right? So she's getting this pair of leggings, and the total came to 1402. So my niece wants to go give the cashier $16. So I paused the transaction and I said, wait, hold on a second. We can do a little bit better than that. And she's a little confused. And, eventually we get to the point of like, yeah, let's give her $15 for the 1402 so she doesn't have to give you that dollar back. And it was hysterical because the cashier, who had to have been just legal age to start working,
Mhm.
says very quietly and anxiously, I'm not good at change either. And we're watching her. Her hands are shaking as she's going into the change drawer. And like the math is already done for you. And if it
Mhm.
wasn't, that's a simple calculation, 98 cents. But she didn't understand what these little pieces of metal
Yeah.
were worth. So she handed back 85 cents, three quarters, and a dime. To which I just start laughing. And our niece thought like potentially that we're laughing at her. And she's like, what? I didn't know the dollar thing. And we're like, no. We're kind of laughing at the change given brought back. But it was an important thing of it is our duty to pass down things to the next generation.
Mhm.
And in doing that, we create a better society for them to live in. Like a lot of people would be like, oh, that generation is terrible. Like, well, no, like this girl probably, this is the first time that she's been handed cash at this job and maybe ever,
Mhm.
because everyone pays with card, not saying like cash over card or anything like that. My dad is like, cash is king. But
Yeah.
just getting these values of understanding like what this thing is worth, because of the card, you don't see it going in and out. And so yeah, we got the change back, and we didn't, bust on the girl and say that was wrong, because I think the anxiousness kind of drove her to go want to learn more about what
Mhm.
these little circles of metal, um, what they mean. But we just had a great time. We're super impressed with our niece, and just it's such a gift to watch our nieces and nephews grow,
Mhm.
and just the wisdom that they gain year after year.
Yeah. I love it. Well, thank you so much for listening to this episode. We hope that it really encouraged you to, one, have generational friendships and know that the lessons that you have learned in your life are needed for the younger generation. So don't sell yourself short, and remember that you are a gift and you have knowledge and value and perspectives that younger people need. But also remember, have fun and enjoy the day, enjoy this upcoming week, and don't get too worked up about whatever your workout program is, and just go have fun. Go to the playground, go hang out with some of your family or kids or whatever, and prioritize having fun this next week, and then send us a message and let us know how you did.
It's all about consistency and accumulating movement and having variability and enjoying the process of that. Hopefully this was a 5-star episode.
Yes, hopefully.
But have a great week. And remember, every day is not a day to be hopeful. It's an opportunity to become hope.
The Hope Not Know podcast is meant for educational, informational, and personal development purposes only and does not constitute any health or medical advice. If you're looking for specific advice, connect with us to work with a Hope coach. The Hope Not Know podcast shall not be liable or responsible for any loss or damage allegedly arising from any information or suggestions in this podcast.